tomorrow. Get up and take it over. Riding this roller coaster. We're gonna make it happen. Don't ever stop the fighting. We're gonna keep on climbing. Get up and do it yourself. For everything you work for, failure is not an option. We're gonna change the chapter. History's what we're writing. Towards a new horizon. Daytona Beach is watching. This is the biggest blessing. Become a living legend. Come to battle, become the king of the castle. From every nation we travel, busy chasing a dream. Universes collide with every fight in the ring. From the ashes we rise like catacombs of the Greeks. Two of us set to enter, one of us leaves the winner. Both of us feel the passion, but who's willing to bleed? Many a sleepless night until I capture my dream. Focus will be retained until victory calls my name. Omega just like I'm Kenny till I'm golden elite. Working on up the ranks until I reach that 16. Many battles were fought, many friendships were formed, many rivals were made through the night as we play. Headed toward the stage, I got the mark of the beast. Calculate every frame, I hear him chanting my name. Coasting through competition, cause it feels like a dream. Nothing that you can say until I get that top 8. On to the final 4, grand finals in store. Destiny's here to guide me, I'm taking that belt back home. Yourself.
Ladies and gentlemen and boys and girls of all ages, we bring to you the new stage of victory. New Japan Pro Wrestling invades the sunny shores of Daytona Beach. CEO 2018, a culmination of all worlds invited. Step inside the ring, I'm a competitor. Battle any challenger, that's a stepping up. I'm a winner of competition in front of us. Outside the arena is where the gloves are. Step inside the ring, I'm a competitor. Battle any challenger, that's the message far. I'm a winner of competition in front of us. Inside the arena is where the gloves are. Step inside this ring, we are competitors. Battle any challengers, that's what's stepping up. I'm the winner.
Yo, 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 1 2 1 2. This is my check. Yo. Oh. Woo. I like this tech test we're doing before we start. Oh, no, here. He's talking about hearing. He wasn't able to hear you before.
Can you hear me now? How about now, buddy? All right, cool. So I
It
muted
must have
everything.
been the OBS.
All right. So we
Oh,
look
yeah,
good.
got
You
it.
guys see us okay? Juicy, what do you think? Foda sounds good?
How do I sound?
Perfect. I made these overlays myself. Aren't you proud? All right. So I'm going to cut us off, guys. Go back to listening to some music. Test. Okay, they can hear you if you talk.
Shining like a star, they know what we are. Golden. Always up the par, then we raise the bar. Golden. Give me the applause, give me all the stars. Golden. It ain't worth holding if it ain't golden. Star best bout, just about the best out. Lovers back, run the track, got nothing to stress about. I'm in another class when I write a rap. Put a W at the end, just like Tiger Mask. Flying past with a Phoenix splash. You ain't seen the last, it's a clinic. This is independent genius class. Call me Goya, I can probably do this all day. I don't care about what they all say, I will bring it into your day. Gold on my neck and gold on the waist. And if you got what's mine, better know I'm on the case. On the chase like a hound, you know how we get down. When my knee goes up, body's hitting the ground. Flame keep my team burning, too determined to take you off your feet like a deadlift German. Golden elite, now you know the power. Pull the golden trigger and you get in a golden shower. Golden, shining like a star, they know what we are. Golden, always up the par, then we raise the bar. Golden, give me the applause, give me all the stars. Golden, it ain't worth holding if it ain't golden. Shining like a star, they know what we are. Golden, always up the par, then we raise the bar. Golden, give me the applause, give me all the stars. Golden, it ain't worth holding if it ain't golden. You know it. Final letter of the Greek alphabet. And it's about the prize, never been about respect. Leave a crowd impressed. Put me in the ring, I turn it to gold. A full metal alchemist. Yes, V-trigger, throwback like flea flickers. Meet with her, that's a stretch like Reed Richards. Yeah, keep a motor like a Hemi. I'm the one they all envy. Turn the world into a frenzy. Ravage and rumble, I'm savage on tracks. I'm too bad to be humble. Watching your empire gradually crumble. No match for a cat in the jungle. Golden, my style is like no other. Ninth world wonder, psycho crusher. Mouths are open, crowds are frozen. We ain't folding, my team stay golden. Golden, shining like a star, they know what we are. Golden, always up the par, then we raise the bar. Golden, give me the applause, give me all the stars. Golden, it ain't worth holding if it ain't golden. Shining like a star, they know what we are. Golden, always up the par, then we raise the bar. Golden, give me the applause, give me all the stars. Golden, it ain't worth holding if it ain't golden. CEO. CEO, come on.
Once was outside and now we worldwide.
CEO, come on.
Once told to hide, but you can't deny it.
CEO, come on.
The dream took some time, but now we on the rise.
CEO, come on.
If we unify, the squad will never die.
This is the community effort, the product of grueling, unusual methods. The voice of a generation who you neglected, who moved from the rejected to truly respected. Heard it's a cold world, so we supply heat. We roll squad deep till you qualify me. Never let a sub-genre define me. Find me in the cut scheming like Wiley. World domination on the docket, we got this. From the projects to the trending topics. We hear the gossip, response no comment. Nonsense, heard he want honest content. Flip the game, remain at main menu. Crossed up, then tossed up, I straight end you. From arcades to hotels to venues, the drama we've been through, the saga continues. This is what you've been waiting for. CEO, yo, this is something you can't ignore. CEO, let's go. This is what you've been waiting listen for CEO, yo. This is something you can't ignore. CEO.
Test 1, 2. Hey guys, can you hear us? Okay, please let us know in the chat. No trolling, or I'm gonna kick you out.
No trolling. No trolling. So we're live, but we're live.
Yeah, we're doing a
to
quick
Twitch.
test. Make sure you guys can hear Foda.
Yeah.
How does Foda sound? How do I sound, guys?
Test. Yeah.
Perfect, guys. You guys are
This is the
awesome.
sneak peek.
Thank you for tuning in. I usually have a rule. I don't interview people with smaller followings than me. So this is a rare occasion where somebody has a bigger following than me. So I'm excited. Anyways, I'm probably going to repeat that for the stream. All right, we're going to count down. I'm going to record this so I can also upload the audio later on, guys. And 3, 2, 1. Welcome, everyone, to the Alex Jebailey's JePodcast. Very easy. Just type JePodcast anywhere you listen. This is the first live episode. I've had about 25 live episodes. You can hear it on Spotify, iTunes. It's not iTunes anymore, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you listen. So definitely check that out. Now, a precursor, we're not going to be paying attention to chat. We want to have a great conversation without distractions. But at the end, we're going to leave up like 10, 15 extra minutes of just whatever you guys want to ask. And if Foda can answer it, he will answer it. But my name's Alex Jebailey. If you don't know, I run fighting game tournaments. I loved and supported Brawlhalla before it was cool. My world finals from 2017. This one was the first one in Atlanta.
That's a nice shirt, man.
Thank you. Thank you.
2017 was our second one. But that was our first real one. You know,
Yeah.
the 2016 one, that was a learning experience.
Yeah. So today's guest, this is Foda. Foda, I have worked with for a couple years. He was one of the last developers I'd ever seen in a LAN event with CO Dreamland, which was a crazy time we'll talk about. But Foda, I don't really gas anybody up too much except myself, but Foda is one of the greatest guys I've ever worked with. Also one of the most stressful guys to do events together. We'll talk about that. But Foda, welcome to the show, man. How are you?
Thank you, man. What an intro. You're a pro. You're a pro podcaster. This is real. This is like
I'm not just a
serious
CEO, guys.
business podcast.
Yeah. So
I'm excited.
Introduce yourself, man. Tell everybody about you. Everyone's actually here from the Brawlhalla community, so this is your show.
Okay, yeah. Well, all our listeners are here from Brawlhalla anyway. But you know, I'm the director of esports for Brawlhalla. Although, you know, I just do, you know, I'm just the Brawlhalla guy. I think I could change my title to like the Brawlhalla guy now, because I'm the one out there talking about it, you know.
Yeah, and you're not just a Brawlhalla guy. You've been to some of my events where you've entered other games besides Brawlhalla to support, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I compete as well.
Yeah, so
how are you going to direct esports? You know, if you don't compete, you know that
my God.
I saw you in top 8 of what was it? Third Strike.
Many games at
events.
This point. Yeah, many games. Foda, don't look at the chat. So let's. I can see your eyes, dude. No, but
I wanted to see you there, but yeah.
Thank you. Well, let's kind of dive into things, right? So before Brawlhalla, obviously, like you just said, I've worked with a lot of people in this industry. Most people that run events are fans of gaming and all that, but I've also met organizers that couldn't even do a Dragon Punch 5 times in a row. And that's always been my rule, is like, I'll never work with anybody who cannot perform a Ryu or Ken Dragon Punch 10 times in a row. And I say that one time I only did it 5 times and messed up on a brand new stick, but you know, stuff like that. So kind of
now it's 5 times.
Yeah, give us your history in gaming before Brawlhalla, what got you started, your first memory, your childhood kind of.
Oh man. Okay. I was raised on video games. Like my parents would tell me stories about when I was like a toddler in the playpen, of like when my sister was done playing on her NES, which I could see from my playpen. I would like climb out of the playpen just to like grab the controller and play and stuff. My mom told me about, she told me, and you know, I have no way to verify this, right? I have no like video or anything, but just my parents telling me how older kids, before I could talk, older kids would come with their NES Zelda cartridges and like get to the hard part and then hand the controller off to me, and like I'm like a stupid robot that would play the game until they like, okay, now you did what I needed you to do, and then they take the controller from me. So I was raised on games for sure. But mostly MMOs really before like teenage years was all MMOs really. I played a game called Dark Age of Camelot that came out shortly after EverQuest, but it was kind of that same generation of MMO player, the old school EverQuest stuff. And I love that game. And I credit that game a lot with I don't want to say like my skills or whatever, but like my, the way I deal with a community and the way I interact with people, especially like online, definitely I have Dark Age of Camelot to thank for that. It's like training me in social skills as a kid playing an online game because it was really community based, and you had to. I would lead raids of people with like 200 people in it, and I'm like a 13-year-old kid, like lying about my age. I'm like, yeah, I'm 30. Follow me. Before voice chat was a thing, so it was easy to fake it there. So yeah, I grew up playing Dark Age of Camelot, MMOs, and it was at Bloodline Champions was the name of the game where I got into actual competitive gaming. And that's not to say I wasn't competitive. I've never been a casual gamer, right? I'm always competitive, always trying to be the best at the games that I dedicate myself to. But still, and like Smash 64, yeah, I could beat like all my friends and stuff. And when NetPlay came around, I was all about playing net play on Smash 64 net play, and maybe that was competitive, but Bloodline Champions was the first like ranked ladder that I tried to push myself up on, and that game, if you don't know, it's top down, kind of like League of Legends or something, but you control your character with WASD, and every ability is aimed. Even if you're a healer, every heal you throw is a skill shot. Everything's a skill shot.
So it's kind of like a smite. It's not third person.
It's like WoW arenas with no mana and you have to aim everything basically. And I love arena combat. I was all about like WoW arenas. A lot of the Brawlhalla early Brawlhalla developer guys are WoW arena people. So that's where I got competitive. I think Bloodline Champions. And then platform fighters, Smash 64 was all about that. Melee, I wasn't there for the evolution of Melee, I was like a 64 nerd. Everybody's playing Melee, and I'm like, but I figured out how to play online on 64, and we're playing like with like 9 frames of input delay, but we're just happy to be online, and platform fighters, man, that's my I love platform fighters. I'm such an advocate for all platform fighters. It is my favorite genre for sure.
Now, are platform fighters considered fighting games in your mind?
Yes, yeah. But you obviously need to make a distinction, right? I mean, we're playing different games. I know you come from traditional fighter, which is maybe the best way to describe it, right?
Yeah, I mean, I was actually a pretty good Melee player with Peach before Fox became a thing. And I actually won a bunch of tournaments with my Peach back in the day. But yeah, I mean, traditionally, I'm an arcade guy, fighting game guy. And I always tell people, like, a fighting game is any game where you've got 2 characters and you fight until somebody dies and somebody wins. That's a fighting game. And that's platformers. Totally. It all falls, but it is totally different play style and everything.
It's worth making the distinction for sure. You know, it's way different. The threat of a fireball versus the threat of like Falco's laser is hugely different. One, you jump over and kill the guy for trying. The other one is like, you better be perfect with your shielding. It's just totally different. The character size to environment size ratio is so different. Where in a fighting game, the characters take up most of the space, and that alone completely changes the gameplay. And so I find it pretty easy to flip around from platform fighter to platform fighter. I've still never really mastered a traditional fighter of any kind or anime fighter. I mean, I played this one game, Pocket Rumble. Have you ever messed around with Pocket Rumble?
A little bit back in the day. Yeah.
That was the first fighting game where I actually was playing. I feel like in a fighting game, until you and your opponent understand all the rules to where you're not just trying stuff. You're like, you understand the decision making behind it and how rock beats scissors in this such situation and stuff like that. That's when you're actually playing a fighting game. Now your mix-ups are mix-ups and not just an attempt at attacking, you know. And Pocket Rumble did that for me. It was really simplified. It made it easier to do that. But you know, not a lot of people to fight in that game.
And especially now in a COVID world, if you don't have good netcode, you're not going to have a lot of people to fight. There's a Steam game that just came out called Hellish Court. Looks like a badass new age like Bushido Blade, and it's on Steam, but there's no netcode at all. So they're just telling people just go use Parsec. I'm like, come on, not everyone knows how to use Parsec, but
yeah.
So you dabbled into platformers and stuff. Look at Foda chatting away already. Don't answer questions in chat.
I'm looking up Hellish Court, dude. I want to know what you're talking about.
It just came out last week.
That looks pretty cool.
Now, where did you grow up? Were you always Atlanta?
I grew up in South Florida, in Miami, you know, straight up. From like 5 years old, I grew up in Miami. I'm half Cuban, and my family all speak Spanish, and I never really learned Spanish somehow.
And you lived
completely,
in Florida.
it was saturated around me. My grandmother would speak to me exclusively in Spanish.
Makes you feel any better. I took French for 4 years in high school instead of Spanish living in Florida. So that was the biggest mistake of my life.
Same thing.
Yeah. I do speak Arabic, though. I just don't tell anybody because I don't want to get pulled over easier.
Oh, that's cool.
Okay. So platformers obviously were your first dive into fighting games where you felt confident. And that's very true, right? It's like me, when I was a Street Fighter kid, I was just, 11 to 15 years old. I just played to win. I didn't think strategy. I didn't have the internet to look up codes. I just grew an instinct to playing this. And that's something that we had an advantage from the arcade days competitive wise, because you had to put a token in the machine. And if you lost, you're going to wait an hour to play again. Now you can just dive right back in.
It was profitable to win in the arcade.
Yeah. Oh, I wouldn't say that profitable until Brawlhalla came around. Thanks, Ubisoft and everyone else.
I guess that's not what I've.
Yeah. No, I know.
But
we'll get to that.
That's a cool thing about arcades. I mean, that's like smart decision of the devs of those fighting games to let the winner continue playing for free. I mean, that's such incentive to play and win. I love that whole thing. You put your quarter up, right? You put your quarter up on the screen to signify that you got next. And, I was there. I saw that from the outside. I was never good enough at any of those fighting games. I mean, I could spam a fireball, straight up.
Well, now at Brawlhalla
I could DP out of get up. I knew that much, that it was important to DP on wake up, but that's about it, right? Like
now at Brawlhalla Lands, instead of putting quarters up, you just see a player put down their custom keyboard and mouse.
The keyboard, PC, when you see all the LEDs.
Yeah. So, because it's different now, right? A lot of these kids, and I'm not somebody who makes fun of the younger generation or anything. Everything changes, progresses, and stuff. But it was a different world back then. And now, if you don't have proper online, which Brawlhalla is amazing at, and a lot of other games, like it's kind of hard to get better and compete unless you have offline events. But we'll get into that. So, tell us a little bit about working in the industry, right? Like, was Brawlhalla your first gaming job? What did you do? What did you do in school leading up to this point?
Oh, okay. So yeah, I technically yes, but maybe technically no. Before I worked at Brawlhalla, I worked for this robotics company, specifically like motion control systems. And I messed around with the robots, but what my job actually was racing simulation. So like a cockpit thing you get into, and it's got big actuators and it turns with you. That's what I worked on, and I did a lot of work on the like simulation aspect, like the software running on the computer and building the gaming machines that went into them and stuff like that. And so it was like the closest I could get to game dev. I mean, I've always wanted to be a game dev since I was little, right? And it was the closest I could get to it, but it really wasn't the industry. It was just it was a game that we showed, that people would interact with, and that's as close as I could get. And it wasn't really, I didn't program a custom simulation thing. It was like a platform that was like easily modifiable, and I did all like the modding of it, So I would put the cars into the game, and and tune the physics and stuff so that it felt right,
Right.
know.
So were
And
you
and
a
we
big
would
Gran
go
Turismo
around
fan?
to auto shows with them. If you've ever been to an auto show between, I don't know, 2011 and 2015, you were in the Ford booth, you've maybe ridden on one of my machines.
Can you still get me access to
fact-
one?
What's that? Oh, well, I
Yeah.
mean, it would have been, that would have been doable.
Yeah.
In fact, I've been to a lot of the venues that we go to for all these gaming events. I've been to before
Oh.
for an auto show.
Yeah,
The
especially
gaming
like,
events are more fun.
yeah, the Congress Center's huge. Probably not my
Oh,
Wyndham
yeah.
Hotel though for Dreamland and CEO, but so a lot of people that watch us in this industry always want to know what was our like first big break into the industry, like kind of what got your job at Blue Mammoth Games and stuff, and like did you reach out to somebody? Did you just take your experience? Because technically, and you don't want me to ask what you do day to day, but what was your title before Brawlhalla Esports became what it is today, which is incredible? What was it like? What was your role before that?
My what was my big break? So I was doing tournaments. I was hosting tournaments in the early days in like 2015 closed alpha or closed beta because I knew I was really good. I was on top of the leaderboard. I would stream and beat everyone that came to fight me, and it's a small community, so I was like, oh, like I'm a top competitor, so I was hosting events out of my pocket, just to have people to fight against.
Right.
I just wanted to fight, and everyone thought, it was small at the time. I would never compete in one of my tournaments now, right? What an obvious conflict of interest for me. But
You
back
wouldn't win
then,
anyways.
it just made sense. Like, I'm putting up the money, I get an attempt to win 50% of my cash back, right? And so I was just doing that and just being part of the community. And it was really early on. So everyone played a big part, I think, back then. And you can actually pinpoint down the moment. You can see it online, my big break. It was a thread that someone at Blue Mammoth put up in the Brawlhalla subreddit, which was the main way we all communicated back in 2015. And it was like, BMG is hiring, and they were like trying to see if anybody was in the community that could be hired. What I came to find out was that the job they were really hiring for was programmers to help port the game to PS4. That was like when we just started learning that PS4 was an opportunity for us. So
I added something. Sorry.
yeah, so I saw that thread, and all I did was type, HMMMMMMM in the chat in the comments, and the one of the co-founders of the game online, he's known as Tivris. He's the man. Tivris is the man.
I know Tivris. Yeah.
He reached out to me. He DM'd me and he's like, "Hey, something you want to talk about?" And I was like, "Yeah, I think I'd be a good hire for you." We kept talking, and it was good. It was good talks. They wanted to hire me, but we didn't know what I was gonna do. And even without knowing what I was gonna do, they flew me down to visit the office. And what a weird situation that was, to fly down and meet everybody. And we're like, I was like, my interview was like, tell us, what's your job? Pitch us a job, And esports came way later. Like, it was not esports from the start.
That's how you get a job at Twitch, by the way. Just pitch them a name or something in the early days.
I came up with all kinds of stuff. I was like, dude, I'll balance this game so perfectly. And I was just coming up with like, however I can help. I want to do this. Honestly, I was doing really well at the robotics company.
Hold on, you're breaking up, Foda. Hold on.
And we're, oh no.
No, you're good. Is that,
forget
yeah,
what I was talking
you're
about.
choppy. Ubisoft is coming in. What did you say?
We were,
I'm just kidding.
Oh, man, what was I saying? I was
Offering
doing
job
pretty well. I took
ideas.
a pay cut to work at Brawlhalla. I took a major pay cut to work at Brawlhalla because I knew I was like, oh, what an opportunity to turn the thing I'm enjoying on my free time into a career. I mean, that's the dream, right?
Yeah.
That's what anybody would want. So I was ready to take a pay cut. You know, I believe so strongly in Brawlhalla. I knew for sure that we were gonna blow up. Now we're doing better than I thought, honestly. But I knew we were gonna blow up. It filled a void in the market. People have been waiting for a platform fighter with rollback netcode to play on PC. Like it was a surefire hit, you know? I mean, with all the time I was spending on N64 net play, which was like not I mean, you've probably messed with maybe some of you out there have messed with Melee net play, and that's
Yeah.
it's beautiful. The Slippy guys, mwah, the Slippy guys are amazing. I can't believe what that is. That's not what N64 net play was like.
Yeah.
We were playing on the servers called Kylera.
I
And it
remember
was
those.
just input delay netcode, you know. Are you familiar with Kylera?
Dude, I'm probably older than you. Yes. I'm not afraid to admit my age because I
You
think I
were
look great.
playing emulators. You're playing emulators
You should see
online
my
back
YouTube
then.
reviews. All I review is freaking Chinese knockoff emulators now. Let's not talk about that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I got a couple. I've got some handheld
Yeah.
emulators.
So yeah, filling the void with
That
Brawlhalla.
was my big break. There was Tivers reaching out, and we went back and forth for a while. And honestly, I left the office and went back home still without an answer and still not knowing what my job was. What happened was slightly before that. I'm surprised we never talked about it in the interviews, but slightly before that, they had announced a world championship. Right? They were like, "We're doing a world championship." $50,000 prize pool. Oh my goodness. The competitive players were freaking out. This is a dream. And so I'm on the way back home, and I'm at the airport on a connection, and Tivers calls me back, and he's like, "What do you think about esports?" I'm like, "That's perfect. Let's do esports." You know, I get hired, and I come to find out they had no plan for that world championship. Obviously, I needed to do esports. They would have been hosed without figuring something out there. They announced that world championship with little plan, you know. We just knew we were going to do a world championship, and then my job became figure it out. Like,
Did
just figure it out.
Did they even have a venue when they announced that, or no venue yet either?
We had a good idea, the Cobb Galleria down.
Beautiful place.
I think we were always planning on the Cobb Galleria, but no, it was. I started from square one on how we get this world championship done, you know, which was cool, you know, like, to their credit, that was what a perfect fit for me. I'm a little disappointed that I didn't think of that, you know. It was Tivers that thought of it. He was like, why don't you do esports? Okay.
Yeah,
for sure. You know, I wanted to be a game dev, and I'm like, however I can be involved, you know. I was like, I'll sweep the floors, you know, like I was that kind of like hustling to get into Brawlhalla, you know. But yeah, the on PC there were no platform fighters on PC. There were very few, if any at all, fighting games with some proper rollback netcode at the time, which I honed in on as extremely important. I mean, immediately I'm like, this is the big deal. And when I got hired and we were doing well, I would always tell my coworkers, it's the rollback netcode. I mean, we are like, the rollback netcode is amazing. And so it's a bit of a double-edged sword, right? Because some people will complain like, oh my God, my character's teleporting. My opponent's teleporting around. What is this game? You know, and that's kind of part of rollback, is that you're not hiding the lag.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the nice thing about, you know, with the delay-based netcode, is that when the game runs, it'll usually look good. You know, you don't see people teleporting around, but it turns out, and people are really talking about it now, right? With this year long of quarantine we've been doing, suddenly now playing online is extremely important, and people are realizing how important the rollback netcode is, and now it's a real big topic, you know. And I thought Brawlhalla was on it, dude. And not only that, but I got to give major props, major shout outs to Andrew, one of our programmers, Andrew, aka Chill Penguin X. He figured out rollback netcode. He's never done anything like that before. He looked up some Wikipedia articles and he just figured it out. What a beast, dude.
Yeah,
What a
and
beast.
shout outs to GGPO, started by the Cannon brothers that are the hosts of Evo and founders of Evo. So GG Good Game Peace Out was the introduction of rollback netcode, which they made pretty much open source, and you just had to dive in and figure it out. Because I worked at Iron Galaxy, and because of Iron Galaxy and Marco, great guy I worked with there, he took care of the network engineering, and that kind of helped out with Mortal Kombat switch over to rollback. And yeah, because before COVID, we didn't care about online tournaments other than just having fun with people to play online. You didn't talk about them. They weren't promoted. And now without our events, people are like, dude, if this is a rollback, who knows when events are back? We need something. And you're an American developer, Blue Mammoth Games being American. You understand that. Over in Japan, the issue is their network infrastructure.
Their internet's so good.
It's so much better than ours. So they don't think about that stuff.
Yeah, they have like real good infrastructure there. So if you're in Tokyo playing against somebody in Tokyo,
no issue.
You're fine. That delay doesn't matter. The delay is like 2 milliseconds, you know? But it is important. It's super important that you need to feel like you're playing offline, you know? If you have to take a teleport, that's fine. A teleport's way better than delays on all of your inputs, you know?
Yeah, agreed.
Sure.
So we're going to Brawlhalla Esports now. You and I was at the second year Brawlhalla, or was I at the first one? Was the Cobb Galleria 2016?
Well, we did both at the Cobb Gallery. 2016. That was before you and I really knew each other very well. I mean, I remember I first met you at CEO 2016. Raiden brought me there. You know, Raiden was in. All you guys might remember Raiden, right? He was deep in the FGC, you know, and so he was kind of introducing me to that world. And I got to give you some credit, dude. I saw you running it, dude. Like I didn't know who you were, but I knew you were the man because seeing you for like 10 minutes dealing with. You know how it is.
Man, all my staff will tell you
everything keeps happening, and you're the guy to.
Staff
and
will
I was
tell
like,
you I don't do shit.
I was like, I think that's supposed to be me, right? Like I'm the Brawlhalla equivalent of this. So I looked to you, you know, as to like how am I supposed to operate, you know? So you helped me more than you know there at the beginning there. And then, so 2016, we did the event there. We were just in a ballroom at the Cobb Galleria. When you were there, we went all out. We got like a big old.
I'll never forget. I walked in and the production crew, there was a guy on the freaking top of the tower without any rope or nothing, just climbing 30 feet in the air. I'm like, dude, if this was my event, that guy would not be doing that. You know what I mean? Like, that was not Brawlhalla's team. That was just some random guy. But yeah, you know, I'll tell you, I walked into that event. You guys had hired me to help out. I believe it was you or Raiden that reached out to me. Cause besides CEO, I've consulted events. I work full-time for Dreamhack as well, but I busted my ass for a decade, you know, building CEO what it is now. And then now I feel like I have to start over. But when I go to single game,
dude, when we get back to it, you got so much support. When we get back to it, it's going to be huge, dude. And you know, Brawlhalla's there for sure.
Yeah.
I'll say it now, you know, no hesitation. We're
awesome.
at the next big CEO. If you'll have us there, we're there big time.
So let's talk. Yeah, we'll talk about that. But when I first walked into that Brawlhalla event, that was one of the first events outside of a Pokken tournament event I ran, where you don't understand. When I can help consult or run a one game event, I am in heaven, complete heaven. When I'm running CEO and there's like 20 different games, it's my mind is everywhere. But when I can go into an event, and I remember working with Tivris and I think Link was his name, or who was the small blonde kid?
Lincoln is Tivris.
Yeah,
I think you're thinking of Dan. Dan
probably Dan.
The other guy that Lincoln's always with.
Yeah, and then Paper Fairy, who was huge to work with from Smash GG.
Shout out to Paper Fairy.
Yeah.
What a guy.
Love you, man.
I wouldn't be here without Paper Fairy.
Before I started trusting guys like Tong Lee and then the Juicy team, Alex Pezente and Eris and all them, Paper Fairy was one of those guys where I'm like, okay, so you're being hired as admin for Brawlhalla. I'll see you Sunday night. Good luck. And I had nothing to worry about. And that was when I started learning how to delegate and stuff. And like I said, when I went to that event, it was just so much fun. But you honestly reminded me of me stressing over every little thing. You were the guy running with the USB hard drive to click all the, make sure all the drivers were good to go. And
Dude,
that's
I was
how-
the tech guy. I've always been the tech guy for these tournaments.
And you have to lead by
Brawlhalla
example.
is so hard to run at a LAN. It's so hard to run at a LAN. The game is so particular, and what it is we are. It's easy with a console, right? All the consoles are the same. Everyone can expect the same thing. With PCs, there's just a lot of weird little finicky things. Oh, if you install this driver, it increases the input delay of these inputs by this much, and it's a mess, dude. It's a mess. It is so tough to deal with all that. On top of that, we have multi-keyboard action. I don't know if you're familiar with how hardware input devices work on PCs, but Windows only sees one keyboard. Like, it doesn't matter how many keyboards you have plugged in, they all do the same thing. To get our game to read the different keyboards, once again, Andrew reading incompleted documentation, absolutely crushing it. And we have multi-keyboard now, and it's reliable. It wasn't at the first CEO Dreamland.
Yeah.
I have a fun nightmare story about multi-keyboard.
I'm sure
there.
I got more nightmare stories too.
But we worked on it, right? We worked with the players on it, and much credit to the players for rolling with the punches on that. I always just wanted to give the best experience I could, because I was living this through them. I was dreaming when I was winning those little community tournaments that I was putting on. I was dreaming of competing on the big stage, and so now, okay, I can't compete on the big stage, but I want these guys to have that experience, and I'm just trying, and it was tough. It's always been tough. All the little weird little and any of our production guys will tell you what a nightmare it was to get our game on the screen and have the players be happy with how it felt. Yeah. Man, it was crazy. But
I'll tell you,
but we got it. And now it's down to a science. Like, next LAN, it's going to be so, you guys have never experienced such buttery smooth gameplay. And it's unfortunate because we had it ready for 2020 CEO Dreamland. That was going to be our big, here's the upgraded LAN experience, and then we didn't get to do it, and all those computers and monitors have been sitting in a warehouse now for over a year.
and let's talk about that, right? So
sure, yeah.
This is why
that was crazy.
I don't like hosting PC games because of all the stress, and everyone's like,
Sure.
fighting games would be a bigger esport if they were on PC. Yes, but every organizer, every local would go through hell to run these things. And you guys were the first team I ever worked with that kind of were turnkey and brought it all. Because if when we worked with Dreamhack together and we got to host you guys and you supported Dreamhack and we gave you the venue and the space, if they had told me, Alex, you got to go get all those PCs and keyboards, and I was like, that's not my job. I quit, But you guys provided everything with the nooks and shipping.
Yeah.
But man, the biggest pain in the ass, chat, is when this son of a gun goes, hey, we need 144 hertz monitors. Brawlhalla must be played on 140. I'm like, dude, the common gamer does not recognize 144 hertz. Like, fighting games don't need that.
Do.
And then
I'm only saying that because I'm representing the trove of guys who are like, bro, we need 144 hertz. Yeah. I'm just like, yeah.
I'm like,
at a certain point, we got
left
big
and
enough to
right.
just bring our own monitors. That made things easier.
Yeah. So, and then obviously, so let's talk about us, right? So Dreamhack, it wasn't my introduction to you guys. It was Michael Van Driel, who's the reason I work at Dreamhack, created that Brawlhalla interaction, like the guys above us kind of right at the top with esports and partnerships. And when Mike is like, hey, we're going to work with Brawlhalla, they're going to be at all our events. I was like, I already know a guy. Like, I knew you from CEO, and I knew Raiden at the time, and it just made it
slam dunk.
Yeah, it was well.
I think you being the director of fighting games there is what made us be like, oh yeah, we can work with Dreamhack. That'll be.
And then Paper Fairy, and then you guys, like I said, just running it yourselves. Now, let me ask you, okay, and this will be a great question for the viewers, right? Brawlhalla is huge online. It's a free to play. Yeah. Were you guys?
Yeah, we've always been.
Were you guys worried? And I know Combo Breaker did a great job the first time you guys were there, with like 200 entrants or something, or 400. Do you remember?
200, I think. Yeah, closer to 200
Which
there.
is a great
on the
turnout.
You're talking Combo Breaker 2016
Yeah.
was shortly after your event, or maybe even before CEO.
They're always a month before a Memorial Day weekend.
Okay, yeah. Man, shout out to TuboWare,
Rick.
helping us get in there, and Rick. Oh, Rick is the man, dude. I love working with Rick. Yeah, they gave us a shot. You know, it was something they did. They had done it for a few games in previous years, and so they just gave us a spot, totally free. They're like, here's your space. If you can make it all happen, like, you're good to stay there. And we had maybe like 2 or 3 tables, you know, and so I brought all the computers and set it up, and you know, that was before people knew about 144 hertz, you know. Well, now we're 240, by the way. 144 is not even enough.
Yeah, you're not coming to CEO unless you bring those things.
We have them. We bring them. They're great. We have a really nice setup now for the LANs.
So the question I want to ask you,
so yeah,
like, the expectation of outside of Combo Breaker doing the first Brawlhalla World Championships and stuff. What was your expectation? Like, were you hoping thousands of players would come for offline, or you knew, no, just it's a special community. Let's just have fun with who shows up. Like, what was the expectation from the guys besides you?
Yeah, I always knew. I mean, we're an online community. It always has been, right? The net play is good enough to where you're competing against guys across the country just as fine as you would compete with them. Yeah, maybe one frame here or there you would see extra if it was offline. But for the most part, your skills are developing on a national level, right? It's not like the local fighting game communities. You know, you got like South Florida and then North Florida and then, you know, West Coast and MDVA and these guys, they all like level up their game together, right? And then you go to the events with your crew, which is already huge, right? That's always been a problem for us, is that we never had crews showing up. Everybody who's coming there is coming there alone, pretty much.
You know, there's families. Brawlhalla's had more parents show up to events I've seen in my history.
Yeah, right. Okay, yeah, with their parents.
Yeah.
With their parents.
That don't complain about
we have such
seating for the
supportive
record.
parents.
If you guys get that reference, thank you.
So yeah, it was always an online community, and I always knew offline was going to be a challenge for us, and I always knew that we would be judged by our fellow gaming communities based on our offline numbers, which were pretty much always lacking, you know, because you knew if you were good enough to compete at a LAN, you know, and you didn't need to go to the LAN to fight other people, which is a big thing for like Melee, right? This is your only chance to fight people outside of your usual circle was the LAN. But Brawlhalla, you just queue up. You queue up, and in 5 seconds, you're fighting against somebody your skill level that you've never seen before. So the LAN was pretty unnecessary. The only people who are going there are the people who think they legitimately have a shot, and the few, you know, there was few like just community guys that were there to be part of it. So it was really elite, the people who are at the events. It was we'd have 50 entrants. What was I think our lowest Dreamhack was Dallas, maybe, with it was a low, no, I can't remember what it was. It was
Quality
a pretty low
over
number,
quantity,
but it was a high tier tournament. Like, all of those guys were total killers, and to go anything but 0-2 for 99% of the community at one of these tournaments would be huge. 99% of the player base, I should say. So yeah, it was always a weird thing. But yeah, I always knew we were, you know, I never expected a huge thing from the LANs. It was more like community service, you know, like do a cool, fun thing for the community. It was obviously never a move for profit, right? All of those things operate at a cost, right?
It's basically marketing for the game.
What's that?
It's basically marketing for the game.
Oh yeah. It's marketing for the game,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, it's great. Yeah, it gives you a good sense of value for your time spent practicing. There's real stuff going on there. You could be the star, you know. And we've seen it. It's few and far between, but we've seen players go from 0 to hero in the span of less than a year more than once, you know. I mean, Sandstorm's story was that. You must know Sandstorm by now. With
Congrats
all the
to winning $1 million
million
this year, Sandstorm.
Let's go Sandstorm.
And Boomer's like retired.
He was
already,
that.
Right?
He came out of nowhere. He competed in like 2 online tournaments, shows up to World Championship 2018 and takes the whole thing. He was that zero to hero story. Although ever since then he's been just the hero, you know. He's on the throne now and people are ready to watch him fall.
Yeah.
But he continues to surpass he's so far ahead of everybody.
So
to answer your question, yes,
Yeah.
we were a special online community,
Yeah,
that always had challenges offline.
The difference between LAN and offline, LAN and online, are a lot of the same people that were winning the LANs winning online now?
Yeah, it was almost exactly the same.
Yeah. Boomy, how's Boomy doing? Can he drive a car yet?
Yeah, all these guys are growing up, dude. It's kind of crazy seeing, you know, I don't have a big family. So I've never really seen like teenagers grow into adults. My first time seeing it was in Brawlhalla. You know, Boomy won. He got second place at that very first tournament that I was at. We just talked about Combo Breaker 2016. Yeah, and showed incredible promise, right? He beat me in friendlies, which is, you know, I used to walk on him back in closed beta. He comes in, he's killing it on LAN. He got second place there, and he was, I want to say he was 13 because he's not allowed to be 12 and competing in a Smash GG tournament, but I don't know, maybe he might have been 12. And now he could drive a car, dude. He's all of these guys are turning into adults. It's crazy.
Which is great because I had CJ
but
Truth and
I never
NuckleDu.
saw them differently. I guess, you know, they were, I mean, online gaming transcends age a lot, I think. You know, we got a lot of, you know, when I was a kid, I had a lot of adult friends playing MMOs and stuff. And now as an adult playing Brawlhalla, I have a lot of young friends, you know, and that's just kind of, online games have always transcended age, I think.
Yeah.
But it is cool. Yeah. Boomy's killing it, by the way. In fact, I just recently set up all these new titles in the database. We have a new title system now, right? Where you see like a string of text underneath your name everywhere that it shows your name in the game.
Nice.
And I wanted to go retroactively award every major tournament victory since ever, right? By giving them a title for that win. Boomy's list is the longest. His list, he has won so many freaking events, dude. Although Sandstorm is like right there with him. He's like 1 or 2 less than him. Then they teamed up, so now they're helping each other with all those wins. But yeah, Boomy's he's been killing it, man. He had some of the most supportive parents. Boomy's parents are like top tier fighting game parents, dude. They are like,
oh yeah,
right up there with Li Joe, you know.
Yeah, and his dad at Evo, yeah. And like I said, I've met a lot of parents.
They knew the deal.
I've met a lot of parents at these events for mostly Brawlhalla, and then the Smash tournaments will have a lot of parents asking me questions and helping out. But the Brawlhalla ones, I've never seen parents more engaged in their kids playing, which is for me exciting to see because I had CJ Truth and NuckleDu. They were young when they started the local Tampa Never Sleeps and CO events, and now they were, you know, NuckleDu's a world champion, Capcom Cup. CJ made top 32 in Evo.
I was there.
Just
I was there at that Evo championship with you there. When
that was awesome. Man, those tournaments feel like a decade ago at this point. It's coming up on a year, March 12th, since Dreamland.
That's right. Yeah, about this time I was like loading up a van.
Yeah, and I was going, man, I don't have 144. I'm just kidding. You know, at this time
we brought our 240s. We were about to unleash.
I remember. Do you remember when you messaged me like, hey, and this is before COVID took hold? You're like, can we get a private room to have players play this build on the monitor or whatever? Or was that after we had to change things? Do you remember? You asked me, and I gave you my executive boardroom I use for staff, and I'm like, you know, Brawlhalla
hang out in. Yeah.
So Dreamland.
You've always been helpful with that, man. I know I bugged the hell out of you with all our requests and stuff. We were so needy, but it was necessary, I think. I mean, we weren't needy for no reason. I needed to give those players what they came there for, and you made it happen. Like we needed more electrical. You make it happen. And
Yeah, I mean,
we
now I look
that was
back,
awesome.
I appreciate all the things you did. Like during the times like, oh Jesus, what do they need now? Or who messed up or whatever. And it was mostly me not preparing enough, but we would solve every issue. And especially Rotterdam. Remember Rotterdam in the Netherlands?
Oh yeah, dude.
Shout outs to Mini Knuckles, who's in the chat. He was the melee TO over there. That was super helpful with everything we did.
He was helpful at Brawlhalla big time.
This wasn't a
Mini
Dreamhack event.
Knuckles.
It was like a subsidiary where Dreamhack teamed up. So it was even new to me to do that. And then Sweden we did. So let's talk about Brawlhalla, the game itself, right? And its growth at Ubisoft and stuff.
Yeah.
You personally, what's your favorite character? What's your favorite crossover character? And yeah, it's really, and then Dreamland is your favorite avatar. Go.
Yeah, obviously Dreamland's my favorite avatar. Oh, dude, I should have had some avatars ready for this. We could have.
I know the
given
flags.
some avatars out or something. We'll do you do a giveaway on the CEO Gaming channel. We'll
Would
get
love
you
to.
some Dreamland avatars in memory of what could have been this year.
Man, yeah, I don't want to talk about it. I tell everyone, here's my joke. Everything before COVID is like 2019 BC before COVID, and then everything after will be like 2021 AD after Donald. That's just how I'm going to name all my events now. So yeah, you can steal that one. That one's mine. That's on the house.
That's pretty clever.
Thank you.
Clever.
I mean, 2,000 years later, exactly. All this shit goes down. So yeah, favorite character, favorite crossover, because you've had some great ones.
Yeah, favorite character, Queen Nai. A lot of people might think Asuri now because I use Asuri to greater success than Queen Nai these days. But Queen Nai was what I won all my tournaments on back in the day. It was so great to play that character because nobody else was playing her. She was perceived as the worst character. And then I came in and oh, we need to nerf that character. That was easily the best character. And it got nerfed a lot, but still it remained good. And so I loved it. It was my identity, I was like the only one playing Queen Nai. Even when I was winning, it was rare for somebody to play Queen Nai against me, which was great. I can reveal now that was my greatest weakness. I lose mirror matches, man. I get in my head about it. I lose mirror matches. So glad nobody would really use the Queen Nai against me. Favorite crossover has got to be Steven Universe. Particularly Pearl is my favorite of them. Steven Universe, I didn't watch any of Steven Universe until we knew about the crossover coming. And especially because I had to go fly to Ubisoft and fly to like the San Francisco office and do a stream on the Ubisoft channel with like the Ubisoft guys, the public guys. And I needed to be knowledgeable. Like I knew I couldn't go on that stream and fake my way through promoting Steven Universe. I had to watch it. So I started watching it thinking I'll get like 6 episodes in and be able to get through all of that stuff without sounding like I don't know what I'm talking about. And I ended up binging it. I watched all of Steven Universe in 2 days. I binged that show. It's good. It's a good cartoon, man. It's just good. It's straight up just good. Really, emotional stuff, but also happy, fun stuff. Yeah, I love that Steven Universe crossover. Was there another one? Was your favorite character, favorite crossover? What else did you have?
I mean, me personally, I'll never forget where I dropped everything to sneak Xavier Woods in through the crowds at Dreamhack Atlanta to appear on your stream for an hour. And he had injured. I had an ankle injury, and a year later he hurt himself. So I had to help him
he was on crutches coming to cast our Brawlhalla thing. That was cool. We did an online pro series that year. It was like our first pro, centered around the top players kind of thing, because we've always been open, right? That's been like the theory, is that we're a free to play game that's all about being accessible. We got to make the tournaments accessible and free, right?
Yep.
But as we grew and people started really caring about the top players, we did that online pro series. And so what we did there, what Xavier Woods was a part of, was we did a super final, because we did the NA Pro Series and then we did the EU Pro Series, because North America and Europe are our biggest regions, and they're about 50-50 in population, right? So they're just both really big and have always required like equal attention. And then it turned out like a few weeks before before DreamHack Atlanta, we were like, we can do a super final. Like I made sure that all 6 of those people were flying to the event. I'm like, let's do it. Let's NA versus EU, the big thing. And then yeah, we had we done a WWE crossover by then? Maybe.
I mean, did
Probably.
Xavier announce it, or was that
Probably.
before him?
No, I mean I can't remember if it was before or after. Xavier was a Brawlhalla ally way before we did a crossover.
Yep.
Like way. In fact, I met
broke down
him
the door
at,
with him and Kenny Omega.
Yes, it was you. It was you. We at CEO 2016. That's where I met him. And he was awesome, and he genuinely liked the game. I've seen celebrities come in for these kinds of like appearance things, and oh yeah, it's fun, and they they go through the motions and all of that.
Yeah.
Xavier Woods was into it.
Him and Kenny Omega. The reason I
and
worked
Kenny
with them,
Omega,
organic,
those
man,
those
they
are
love it.
real dudes.
Yeah.
I really like those guys.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that's where we met him. So maybe that's kind of how the ball got rolling. It might have been. I think it was maybe more of a coincidence that when someone said WWE, we're like, oh, we already know a guy. Like, let's do it.
Sloshula
so
in
it
the
might have been
chat
before or after. I can't even remember.
Sloshula in the chat says the WWE crossovers were already in the game, by the way.
They were already in. So it was very natural. It was a natural pick. Like, I mean, he's Atlanta too, right? He was like, he was in the area in one way or the other.
15 minutes away. Yeah.
So, yeah, what a guy, dude. And he comes in, he's on crutches. Yeah, you helped sneak him through the crowds and stuff. We're trying not to hound him, I personally, like, whenever I'm like around somebody famous, I always give them their space. Like I don't want to be the guy that's like bothering them and stuff.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, for myself, I encourage people to stop me. Like, dude, it's not a bother. It's a privilege to see a fan, right?
Dude,
somehow still I do the opposite of that when I'm talking. So I'm like, I'll just give him his space. He's getting hounded, and then when it's time for business, this is what we're going to do and stuff. And he was awesome. And it was a dream for our commentators, like especially Sparky, at Sparky, at Who Is Sparky on Twitter.
Cowboy hat.
He's a bit, cowboy hat. That guy, he's big into wrestling. So that was a dream for him, I'm sure. And it was just so solid. What a solid that all fell into place. And he was so good at it. I mean, of course, he's an entertainer.
Yeah.
No surprise that he's good at it.
He's on G4 TV.
But he was
coming back.
good,
Yeah.
dude. He was.
Yeah.
And we've never done a tri-cast either. We've never had 3 people casting a Brawlhalla match. So the first time we do it is with someone who's never casted a Brawlhalla match before. And he killed it. It went great. That was very fun.
Yeah, and
that was our players' first time fighting. Both of the teams were getting paid. Obviously, the winner was getting paid more, but they knew that they were putting on a show, and that was so awesome of the players. I'm like, guys, let's I'm not. They at the heart of it all, they need to be competing, right? They need to be competing as best they can, but I'm like, have fun with it, guys. Like, this is your stage. Own it, dude. And they're going up and like grabbing their guy after he takes a stock, be like, yeah. And that was the kind of stuff that I wanted Brawlhalla to have. We've always had that problem at LANs. Like FGC guys, they know how to cheer. An FGC crowd knows how to cheer. Yeah. I mean, awesome. The CEO 2016 crowd had me like, that was epic. And they know how to cheer. And I think a lot of that comes from the fact that people are there with their big crews, and so you're at least going to support your guy. If he's from your region, he's basically on your team, and you got 30 people at least cheering for him. And that kind of cheering gets infectious, right?
Yep.
So, that was something I always wanted. I was trying, it's hard to manufacture that. It really just has to be a natural thing, a crowd being excited. So, getting players to like really woo, and get into it, was kind of hard. And I actually do appreciate, you might know what this feels like. You're playing a pools match and your opponent's got his homies behind him, and they will not shut up,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Like they are clearly affecting your gameplay, and that's kind of the plan, right? They're not touching you or anything. They're not doing anything wrong, but you can't help but hear them, and it affects you, right?
And now, hold
Brawlhalla
on,
players have always been
Foda.
very respectful about that. We don't want to mess up a game.
And
right?
now, Foda, thanks to the sponsors at Astro Gaming for providing mix amps and headsets at every CEO station, you no longer have to hear your opponent's buddies. All right, back to the show.
Shout outs to Astro. They were so monumental in helping in those early days for sure. 2018 DreamHack Atlanta.
Yeah,
Those guys were soldiers, dude.
They're keeping CEO afloat. To be
What's his
honest with
name?
you.
Oh, I'm forgetting his name.
Cole.
Siege.
Oh, see,
At
Cole,
Live
that's
in
Cole.
Astro. Maybe
Yep.
that's still his tag. Shout outs to that
Yes,
guy.
he's been very quiet. He's been working on. They actually had a very successful year with COVID. Everybody being stuck with Logitech and just selling amazing products. But Cole is CEO is the first major FGC event to bring them in, and then it expanded to all the other events, and they've just been so monumental. And like CEO honestly would not grow without
they're
them.
real dudes. You know, working with large companies like that, it's so easy to get caught up in red tape. You know, or you know, you're talking to a decision maker, but he's not really the decision maker. There's a whole team of people that need to agree, and so it's a slow process. And it was so relieving to work with Astro, who was like, "You need some headsets, dude." like it was good. They were just real. You know, like I felt like if I was in their position, that's how I would be operating. You know.
Yeah.
And so yeah, Astro. I will endorse Astro at any opportunity. Yeah,
right.
man. Get an Astro headset. They're awesome.
So we're approaching an hour. So while we kind of wind this down, before we get to the Q&A, which you'll start, if you guys want to start,
an hour?
It's almost an hour now. Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
I know. Well, that
just flew by. We have so many things to talk about.
No, I'm done here. No, I'm just kidding. I got nowhere to be. I've been staying
I'll
home.
keep going. I don't need to stop for
So,
any reason.
A couple of questions I'll ask, and then at the chat, if you guys want to toss in some questions in there, please don't ask about what characters are coming next or any big. He probably won't tell you, but any questions
I'll
about
tell you
stuff?
if I can't answer.
Yeah.
You know, it's obviously.
So 2 questions, right? About Foda the man. 3 questions. 1.
Okay.
Where do you see Brawlhalla in 5 years from now? Still growing, bigger prize pools, or are you guys kind of like
on the moon? We're going to the moon.
Dogecoin? No. Like where do you see it honestly in a couple years from now?
I think our goal with Brawlhalla is to be a generational game, right? You think Street Fighter, and even if you've never played Street Fighter in your life, you know Street Fighter, you know?
Yeah.
So we're going to keep going, you know, and it's different with us. We're a very alive game that constantly is updated. So we're not like looking, you know, it's more about just doing what we're doing and continuously improving. And we've got a list so long of the things we still want to do that's going to be a cool new thing for the game. So, you know, we're just going to keep going with that, and it'll keep growing. And even, you know, there's only so many people in the world, right? But when we've reached that plateau, then I think we're on to the next goal of like being a generational game. Like a lot of these guys who play our game, who compete in our game to great success, we're their first fighting game, you know? We're maybe even the first online game for a lot of these guys. So that's going to translate into more things in the future, right? Like this IP is now like a big deal. So yeah, 5 years from now, I think we're just going to be that much more cemented into the culture of online gaming, you know, and that will and we will continue to grow as a result of that. And we're going to keep competing, and bigger prize pools. I mean, we got $1 million prize pool this year now.
Jeez, you should have paid
It's
your
hard to
staff with
imagine
that
it
money.
going bigger than that, but I mean, if we keep going on this road, it would make sense that it keeps getting bigger. You know?
Let me ask you a question about all the different consoles. Are you allowed to say which one has the biggest player base? Would it probably be Nintendo Switch naturally because so many are out there, or PC
you know,
is the way to go?
The hard part is it might be Switch, but the hard part is Switch players are the most offline of anybody. And we have no way to know if you're playing the game offline. So Switch, we see lower numbers, but it's not right. Like we know that there are that's a lot of people have Switch as like their supplementary device. Like they play on PC, but when they're out and about, they got it on their Switch, and it's the same game. You're playing exactly the same Brawlhalla. You're fighting against the same people since it's all crossplay. Our biggest one has got to be, and I don't know for sure, so I'm just kind of like taking a guess here, but I'm pretty sure it's PS4, mostly because that's where we went first. That was like our biggest. For a long time it was just PC and PS4. So PS4 was like the console. And shout outs to Sony. They worked with us on so much stuff. And we had an issue with PS4 where we had a lot of people play Brawlhalla with keyboard, right? There's a supreme way to play.
I remember that situation, yeah.
And on PS4, people don't play fighting games on keyboard. The only game I think that's being played with a keyboard on PlayStation at the time was Final Fantasy 14, and you don't really need like split second input delay, like the fastest possible delay to control your character in an MMO. It's just not that level of, Brawlhalla fighting games. We're talking about every frame counts, right? MMO is like, yeah, whatever, you're controlling it well enough. So Sony was nice enough that they worked with us on like updating the firmware for how keyboards even work to make it as fast as possible. And now you could play keyboard on a PS4 pretty nicely, and so that was really cool that they worked with us on that. We were like, look, I know it might not seem important, but Brawlhalla's a weird, we got a lot of special things with Brawlhalla.
Last questions before we end this and then go into Q&A. I know what it's like to go through a health scare and then learn to delegate and appreciate more of the simple stuff. I know you had a health scare last year. How are you doing now? Any advice you would give to people about, being in this industry and always stressed out and dealing with so much? To kind of like, what have you kind of changed probably? And then what are you playing besides Brawlhalla?
Okay, great. Awesome. I love these questions. I
mean,
what games I play? I'm focused on the last question. What was the first question again? Give me that again.
How are you doing health wise? Because I care about you as a friend.
I'm doing well. I'm doing very well. I've recently, and I got to say, you're an inspiration for this. 2021 New Year's resolutions. I was like, I got to get healthier. I like 2020 and even earlier than that, I was so unhealthy, man. Every time I'd see me in a picture with a fan or on stage or something, I'm like, oh, geez, I'm just. Yeah. And everyone has always been cool with that. No one has ever bugged me. I've never seen one like mention of my physique or anything like that. That's just not what Foda is about, right? But I was like, I realized how like I was just living it up too much, Like we're doing well now. Uber Eats became a thing.
Jesus.
I'm ordering food all the time. Just like no limit. The meal was over when I could not continue eating, Yeah. And
question for you real quick, Foda.
And I've been strong about it. And I almost don't even want to bring it up because I don't want to feel rewarded for it. Like just thinking of the psychology of it. Like there's still such a long way to go before I'm like healthy. In shape is not, it's like in shape is I want to be in shape. I really want to just be healthy. I don't want to get a chest pain and worry like, like is this my many years of fast food catching up with me? Or, I'd see you at the events and you're up early, you get your workouts in, you care about what you're eating. I mean, I saw you care about what you're eating.
Well, now I do more than ever because you get older and you have to stay on top of it. But here's a funny question for you. Before I remember to put your staff on the Dreamhack catering, what is your go-to convention meal?
My go-to convention meal. Well, what I would usually, whenever I go to a new city, I find something near the hotel I really like and only eat that for the entire duration. Oh, wait, I have a great answer for this. CEO Daytona, my favorite food in the entire world, right? CEO Daytona. What was it, 2019? I think that we were doing that.
That was there 18 and 19, yeah.
CEO Daytona, man. Shout outs to the Ocean Deck, which was a restaurant very near the hotel that had the greatest sandwich I've ever had in my life. It was a mahi mahi blackened sandwich. Mahi mahi is like it's a kind of fish. It's not fishy. I would recommend it for anybody out there who's like, I'm not a seafood guy. Try mahi. It's not fish. I mean, it is technically, but like, dude, it's tender chicken. It's so good. And the Ocean Deck, I guess, everywhere else if you're not on the East Coast of Florida, you're not eating fresh mahi, right? And Daytona was like, they're catching it like right over there. You can like see them from the restaurant.
Yeah.
So it was so good. And I ate there every day, twice a day. I ate at there. I would duck out, Uber to the Ocean Deck, and then Uber back with my food.
No.
That was before Uber Eats, I think.
Yeah, Bite Squad sponsored CEO one year, and I took less cash to get more credit for myself after the event, and it was perfect timing. That's when I had the ankle surgery, and I couldn't leave my bed for like 3 weeks, and all I did was Bite Squad every single day. Because of that sponsorship.
I can't believe you. I'm remembering that now. You ran CEO Daytona from a scooter, from a mobility scooter.
You gotta do what you gotta do
on crutches. That was nuts. I remember thinking, "Oh, that's the worst."
I wrestled a match with one leg.
Having an injury to my leg right before a big event like this, and that's your year. That's your big thing in that year. That everything leads up to that, and then you get that injury. I'm like, oh my God, that must be so rough. But you handled it, dude. You crushed it. From my perspective, man. You were crushing it.
That's what sets guys. That's what sets guys like you and me apart from the bad organizers. There's so many good organizers. You just got to do what it takes to get shit done, so everyone else has a good time. Like if you can't lead from the top, just don't do it. But yeah, guys, Foda and I could probably talk forever over each other and together. So you're doing well. That's good to hear. Any last things before what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this off. And
you asked another question. What am I playing right now?
Yes.
I'm going to go to my Steam library, sort by recent. So I've been playing Brawlhalla. Okay. I've been playing this new, very promising platform fighter called Rushdown Revolt. I won a tournament in it pretty recently. I'm doing really well in that game, so catch me there.
Rushdown Revolt.
You're looking to get wrecked.
Yeah.
I just beat Broforce recently. Good game.
Nice.
That was a good game. Fall Guys, super fun. Stardew Valley, fun multiplayer fun stuff on Stardew Valley. And recently, I got a whole squad of coworkers together to play Grand Theft Auto 5. Like I never actually played.
It's still
through
huge.
The heist. There's like all this whole heist storyline thing that you need a static 4 to play through. And that was so fun. So yeah, GTA 5, that was super cool. And I still play some Guitar Hero and other rhythm games. I'm big into rhythm games. I love that stuff. In fact, that first CEO I was at with you did Jebailey Land.
Yep.
Which was my headquarters, dude. I was like playing so much DDR in that arcade room.
Stop reminding me about how awesome my events are. So what you call it? So okay, guys, I want to thank you, Foda. Before I cut this, before the Q&A, I want to separate the audio. Okay. Any last words to the guys watching, and then to anyone who listens to this podcast later about just supporting Brawlhalla and what you do?
Okay, yeah, a couple things. First off, super thank you to my fans and to anybody who supports Brawlhalla. You are the reason. But also, I want to say something to non-Brawlhalla players. It's not your typical fighting game. but don't knock it till you try it, man. Get in there. I guarantee you're not losing because of the game. You know, it's there's a lot to learn. There's a lot of skill, and the nice thing is that you'll always be able to fight people your skill level. And our community's so wide open. If you're an FGC player, like reach out. All of our top players would love to show FGC players what's going on in Brawlhalla. So we're a welcoming community, and come on in, dude.
Credit to Brawlhalla. There's been a lot of clone platform fighters over the last couple of years that just didn't take off. And the fact that you guys grew before Ubisoft even came involved with, bigger support and stuff, like you guys just killed it organically. So Foda, I want to say thank you. We'll be right back in like 30 seconds, but I'm just going to cut this. This is another episode, or actually the first live episode. Couldn't have done without a better guest than Foda from the Brawlhalla series. So definitely check out Brawlhalla. It's free to play, guys. Give it a shot. Hopefully my avatar is still in there for CEO Dreamland. The flag, it's really cool. Check out
if you at CEO Gaming, right? Or wait, no, at Jebailey, straight up.
Either one.
Send you some code. We'll get you. We'll do a CEO Dreamland avatar giveaway. I think this is. It's a reasonable time to do it.
We will.
I mean, we can't do it, right? What do we? Yeah. Let's do it.
All right. So
great podcast. Listen to the next episode, all of you guys who are listening to this one right now in the future.
Yep.
Sure,
all right. And 3, 2, 1, boom. Stopping recording. Going to start record again. And we're back, guys. No worry. All right, Foda, open up the chat.
Q&A time. This is where I thrive. I like the interaction.
All right, well, you got 15 minutes because I need to eat my Nutrisystem dinner. I went on a new diet, and it's like 1,000 calories a day, and I'm dying right now for the first week. Yeah, it rebuilds your stomach and stuff, but the food's not bad. So anyways, I would go up to, there's a lot of good questions. Merchandise when? Usually only sell merchandise at live events, right?
Yeah, and even then, we're it's not really about selling it. It's more about just like getting it into people's hands, at like a price that reflects the value of it, But yeah, merch, we got to get into merch, for sure. That's part of being a generational game. It's definitely a long-term goal for us, get the merch, have people, representing. I'd love to have like plushes and shirts and stuff like that. And I don't think I'm definitely treading on a line here of me probably not supposed to be talking about stuff, but I just want to say that it's definitely something we're looking at. And I realize that it's probably been a long time coming that we do just some real merch,
And my history of working in the industry, just say coming soon, because you can use that phrase forever and then nothing ever happens.
Soon TM used to be a meme for us.
So, I mean, if you want to look through the chat yourself, answer some questions. I won't
all right.
Speak on them. You can do that.
What kind of questions we got here?
I would look at where Juicy starts with I can borrow you after. After that, all the questions start coming in.
We skip right over that one.
Yeah. Are you hyped for winners?
I don't know how far up we are.
Yeah. Are you hyped for Winters? Blizzard Storm asks. And who will be playing in Winters?
Am I ready for Winters? Yeah, Winter Championship is this weekend. 3 weekends of epic Winter Championship action. Yeah, I'm ready. I've been ready for a while. Who's gonna win? I want to say Boomy. I think Boomy's gonna do it. But we'll see. And then in EU though, I think Acno may be getting dethroned here. We'll see. But if it's not simple, it's got to be Pavelski. Pavelski's my pick. Pavelski for EU. I think so.
Right. I can just go through the questions since I'm in order.
Sure. Yeah. Just bring
Will
them
you
on.
ever do a story mode for the characters? Like more single player stuff, probably.
We would love to. I think so I'm not saying we're working on it because I don't think we are, honestly, and I don't know. But I want to say that is the goal for a lot of the devs here. We're all dying for a story mode. It's going to be so sick. I mean, with our net code and stuff, it could be multiplayer. I got big dreams for what a story mode could be like, or an adventure mode, or something like that. Um, it would, and I guess that's all I got on it. Hopefully is my official answer. Hopefully. Um, I think personally, I think it's a matter of time, but we'll see. We'll see when we get there.
Here's one I can answer. With Flash dead, how does the future game looking? People have had a decade to get to HTML5. Don't worry about Flash anymore. So, it's funny story. My dad plays a lot of poker online, and one day he goes, "Hey, my AOL poker's not working anymore." And I went over. I'm like, "Oh, that's right. They killed Flash."
Oh, they killed Flash.
And
Yeah, they
literally
killed
millions
Flash.
of users just didn't know where to go. They didn't update AOL gaming for HTML. They just go, "Flash is dead. No more games on AOL." I'm sure they fixed it by now.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
No, don't worry about that. It's not so reliant on Flash that it's a problem for
it's
us.
Unity
It's
and
just
Unreal
not.
Engine and what people are learning.
Yeah, the big scare about Flash going down is because browsers are making it standard to not load Flash, and so anything that's on the web using Flash is now like not going to work on almost any browser, right? Unless you like intentionally get a super old one or something. So yeah, it's just not an issue for us. Plus, we're totally ported over. We're got the games on consoles and stuff. We're fine.
This is actually a great question. Do you who was the first crossover in the game, and how did that come apart? Was that like a licensing thing, or is it kind of like me and Xavier and Kenny behind the scenes being friends coming together? Can you speak on that?
It's definitely a licensing thing. That's where Ubisoft comes in clutch big time, is helping open those doors for licensing of other IPs and stuff. I guess Rayman would be the first one, although we treat Rayman differently. It is a Ubisoft owned IP, and Rayman's a character in Brawlhalla. He has skins. We could put a crossover onto Rayman with the way he exists in the Brawlhalla universe. So that's probably more technically the right answer, but Shovel Knight would be the other answer if we're like not counting Rayman.
Yeah.
Be Shovel Knight.
I mean, guys, if you're watching, Rayman Legends is probably the greatest platformer of all time. One of my favorite games. Because it takes forever to unlock everything, and it's just such a good skill-based platformer and stuff. Do you guys plan on making new weapons in the game ever?
Well, I mean, yeah, probably, yeah. We definitely need to catch up on some weapon combinations, though.
Yeah. Well, if you need two new guns,
we
I
put
got
out
you
a lot
right
of
here.
weapons there.
You need two new guns,
yeah,
Foda, I got you.
I would say new legends, new weapons, never gonna stop. Never gonna stop until you hear us say we're stopping, which I don't anticipate ever happening. So
now you and me both, we always plan for the future with events and stuff. Do you want somebody's asking, will there ever be lands in South America? What would be your favorite place to host a LAN in that has even just a little bit of a community?
We were about to do it in 2020. We were all set to do the Brazil game show in Sao Paulo, I think.
Yep.
If we were to do a LAN there, I think it'd be in Sao Paulo. But yeah, I mean, we were just about to, we were so close. So
which Smash Pro would you hope to pick up Brawlhalla? And for the record, remember Dreamland, where it was Brawlhalla and Rivals of Ether trying to get more Smash players to play their games, and their Smash kids are Smash kids.
We never are like looking for Smash players or players of any other game to like switch to our game. It just doesn't. We just don't see it that way. We love other platform fighters. Anything that pushes our genre is good for everybody. So it's an easy, like, we love them. But what player, like,
would you
what
want to
player
play
would I
Brawlhalla?
want
Yeah.
is an easy answer for me, and his name is Axe.
Great guy.
And he has actually played it a bit. When Sandstorm and Axe were both on Tempo Storm. Sandstorm was in Tempo Storm for a while there, and they did a couple like promotional streams together where they're playing it together. And Axe always had a great attitude about it and stuff. And Axe he's always been my favorite Smash player, dude. I play Pikachu in Melee, so obviously he's an inspiration. And he's an all-around good dude. I
100%.
can't imagine we will ever hear a bad thing about Axe. He is just such a good dude. I got to play with him. I have a fun story of what was it? Genesis 4 or 5, one of the two. Um, I got the chance to play doubles with Axe in my hotel room against the two top Hawaiian players as double Pikachu. What a dream, dude. What a dream. That was so fun. We were just playing. I had like a whole laptop set up and stuff, and he happened to be in the room next to me, and he comes knocking on the door like, "Hey, I hear Pikachu. You guys can we play some melee?" And we were like, yeah, dude, get in here. We played and it was a great time. So yeah, I'd love for Axe to play. Axe, if you're out there listening to this somehow, hit me up on Twitter, dude. I will get you in. I'll get you in big time. We would love to have you playing.
All right. Well, last
But
question.
never stop playing Pikachu. That's important what you're doing. So,
Oh yeah. I still haven't
no
gotten
matter
one of those
what Brawlhalla
McDonald's
does.
Happy Meals things. Let me see. I can't pronounce this name, but he's asking, will Brawlhalla come to Dreamhack Rotterdam? If anybody can come to Dreamhack Rotterdam, we'll let you know. We need events first before we can say anything. It's really hard to even discuss it because Dreamhack right now only has Atlanta planned, and obviously we would love to host the finals again, but we got to see where the world's at.
And we're
you know,
just hoping, we're just hoping that's long enough to wait, right?
Yeah.
We'll have to see further down the line.
I'm seeing this question a lot.
But yeah, Rotterdam was a favorite for the community. I'll say that, you know.
Right.
And I always like to do what the community likes. So yeah, I would definitely be considering Rotterdam in a world where, you know, if we just rewind, like if everything was just like it was, yeah, Rotterdam would be a good one.
Awesome. Let me see. Sorry, somebody just texted me a mother friend of mine. Good. Hold on. Good to hear. So my son was talking about you today. Apparently you are important to meme culture. I'm like, oh God, not another one. Anyways.
You are. That's the debated guy over there. Wait, over there.
Yeah.
Debated over there.
Last question for you. This seems to be one. Everyone's asking about Brawlhalla ID linking or an easier way to like find people. Like Switch has the Switch
account linking.
Account linking.
Yeah, we get that question a lot. That's definitely territory of like stuff I'm not allowed to answer. But let me tell you that we've answered that question on streams several times in a more official way. Look back to the last stream that Dinohedron was on, and he literally answers that question. And I'm gonna just dodge that for now because that's a PR thing, big time.
Yeah. Wait, doesn't Brawlhalla not have dodges? No, it doesn't have
No,
throws.
we don't have blocks.
throws.
So we got dodges all day.
Yeah, you don't have throws, whatever. Anyways, so what you call it? Oh shit! Somebody's asking me to enter a Street Fighter 5 tournament. Yes, add me. Okay. Anyways, so yeah, I multitask. Well, guys, honestly, I think that's all the good questions we got. Foda, dude, seriously, man, I hope we get to work together again soon. It was a pleasure.
We will, dude. We will. When we come back, you and I are gonna make it so big, dude, because we're so ready to pop off at a LAN. Like, we are so ready. Whatever our first LAN back is gonna be so spectacular. We've had so many people, like every tournament we've hosted in 2020. The winners of that, and it happens in 5 different regions, the winners of all those singles tournaments have earned a flight to the next LAN, which has been stacking up for a while now. So we're going to have like every big player is going to be there. We're going to invest more than we've ever invested or even dreamed of investing into an in-person event. So it's going to be so epic, dude. And with you there, Jebailey,
can you do me a favor?
Success is guaranteed.
Well, the next event, I'm about to announce the cancellation of CO this year in Daytona in June, unfortunately, but I'm waiting for the contract stuff.
Understandable, right?
But CO Taku is signed for the end of September, so I need you to make a anime skin for any character. That way I can classify it under CO Taku, and then we'll have the LAN there. So yeah,
for the anime crossover, and you know, we're all the devs are dreaming of that too, man. We just gotta figure it out, you know. But yeah, anime. That's a great one. What would you, if it could be any anime in Brawlhalla? I'm not asking what your favorite anime is.
Yeah.
I'm asking what would be your ideal crossover for an anime in
Guilty
Brawlhalla?
Gear is riding hot right now with the new rollback and all that. So Guilty
Yeah,
Gear
I seen you
character.
tweeting about that. Our guy TWK, surely you've met him
Yep.
around. He's the combat designer for Brawlhalla. He's playing the heck out of that dude, and
Yeah.
he is. I mean, he's good. I don't know if people know this about TWK. He is good at fighting games. He designs our combat because he understands the combat of every fighting game ever to such deep depths. Even if he's not like a top player at the game, he knows why the top players are winning or losing, right? Like he is just that deep into it. You'd probably love fighting him. You should.
I'll try it out.
Tell him to reach out to you because you guys might have some really good matches on that new Guilty Gear.
Yeah. All right. Well, Foda, I think that's all the questions we have, guys. Thank you. Oh, Levi from Attack on Titan would be good. There's so many, man. Honestly, if I had to pick one anime character, it would be probably a Dragon Ball character, just because that would be the smart play, like a Goku.
That would be nice. Yeah. Oh yeah,
so-
Goku.
I'm looking around. I'm like looking at all my characters. I'm like, who? All Might. All Might would be badass. Imagine an All Might skin. Yeah, that's all I got. All Might. We'll go with All Might from My Hero Academia. All right, guys.
Put him on the ring. So like he's so buff.
Yeah.
But
all right, guys.
Figure it out.
Chat, honestly, thank you. This is really cool. This is the first time I've done this live and stuff, so I really appreciate the questions. We're gonna be out. Foda, I'm gonna top the recording, and then we'll just say bye in Discord.
All right,
everyone, take care of yourselves.
Thank you, everybody.
See you.